Oh ho, party people. Bobo here with BrassReel Brothers. We got a special episode for you guys today. The Matrix Resurrection trailer came out, and me and my buddy Esmaniac, we're gonna break it down. Esmaniac, what is going on, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, not too bad. I watched the trailer. I've seen it 4 times, so I'm going to hopefully add something to this. I can't work out what's going on.
Yeah, I've seen it 4 times too, maybe five even, but then I spent the rest of the time like really breaking down the trailer clip by clip so I can get these shots. And man, I got a lot to say, dude. I got a ton to say. I got the green background going on today,
I've
trying to get all
noticed.
pumped up for that. And but first off, how you doing, man? Everything going good in your world?
Yeah, not too bad at all. We had some rain today, and then it brightened up, and it was so hot, and now the skies and the heavens have opened.
That's
So
exactly what happened yesterday here.
yeah, and that's the last of the weather. Apparently, we're not going to get any more.
Well, that's not a bad thing, I guess. We know we're flooding like crazy over here in certain parts of the states, like New Orleans and like the whole like Northeast kind of East Coast in general is just terrible. It's so heart goes out to them right now for sure. A lot of those people are without power, without housing, and flooded completely.
Yeah,
People can't get to them.
and even when the water goes, like they've got to renovate the houses and fix them up because it ends up stinking. Like we had floods over here, thank God, like 14 years ago. We've not had any since where I live.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
definitely good. We
yeah.
don't we get some type of flooding in Dallas, but nothing to the extent to where I'm worried about actually, oh my God, we're about to be underwater. I mean, there's some places that get like a foot here and there, but that happens every time. People know not to drive down there. It's areas that make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as far as these places where their whole neighborhoods are just completely underwater, I mean, whew, that's crazy, dude.
That's the time when neighbors need to come together.
Well, and I think luckily people are. I think people are definitely coming together during this time. I mean, as much as they can, but in New Orleans and places like that, they don't have, I mean, they're literally in the middle of nowhere, and people at some points there was fires and explosions happening because of all these weird things on top of the water, and people couldn't get to it. Firemen couldn't get to it because it was just,
Wow.
we can't get fire trucks through the water.
Yeah, no, they're not designed for it. Yeah.
No. And those people out there, you're thinking fire on the water. You should be able to put it out with a bunch of water, but it's just not the case.
Yeah, electrical.
But anyways, but heart goes out to those guys. But we got some stuff to talk about today. We got the Matrix to talk about, and I got a little, nice little BrassReel Tonight logo going there. Tried to matrix it out a little bit.
I noticed that. I'm very impressed. Looks good.
Oh, well, good. Thank you. I try to keep it up. You do a good job at certain things, and I've noticed, especially, I was showing my buddy some of your stuff and some of like the stuff that I really like. This stuff will really make you laugh. And man, this, but your first Boris Johnson Bond one.
You love that one, don't you?
It's solidly done, man. I mean, if nobody's actually paying attention, it looks like it's an opening to a Bond movie. And then if you are paying attention, all the subtleties with the titles and everybody coming in and out and like who's the budget by this and produced by this, and it's just hilarious, dude.
Yeah, that was something I've always wanted to do, and for some reason I've tried to recreate it, and none have had the hit success of that first one. Like everybody loves that one.
Yeah, well, I noticed, and the other ones were fun too, and they were good. But I have to say, there's something about that one that you just nailed it on. But
yeah,
but I'm trying to get more like you, man, and kind of theme and decorate myself out a little more. So let's dig into it, man. Let's dig into it. First off, does this make you excited about the movie?
No.
Oh man, I can't believe it. Because look, to me, a trailer is designed to get you either excited more about something you're already excited about, or to get you excited about something that you're questioning. And this got me a little bit more on the excited than about what I was questioning.
Yeah. Okay. It looks better than what I thought it was going to be, but am I excited? Not really. I just don't see a place for it, but that's just me. There was nothing new brought to me in the trailer. I don't know if you felt the same. Like it felt like there was changing back into agents again. And I was just I've seen all this before, but I suppose that's what the Matrix is about.
Yeah. Okay. So they do make a point to cross off all those boxes, to check off all those boxes to make sure that you know that, oh yeah, remember this from the first one? Remember? I mean, right from the get-go. First off, the first thing you see in the trailer is this shot right here, which looks
Yeah,
like it's like out of a Harry Potter movie or something.
yeah, it does.
But which it's fine. That's cool. They're trying to project a different feeling than you. And it honestly, it reminds me of the shot of the end of Matrix
Yeah, when they're
Revolutions.
sat on the bench.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's, I mean, okay, that's cool. You got sort of an maybe a crossover there. And again, they don't really give you anything about the plot or anything in this movie. They're just wanting you to piece it together with scenes you're seeing. And
yeah.
so if that's where it's picking up kind of that feeling or what they're wanting you to get, they achieved that.
See, you know, like you've decorated everything, and like I can see your background. It's lovely and green. I'm not seeing no green in this movie
There's
besides the Matrix.
some,
Yeah,
but that was the other thing I was going to bring out is I think they're purposely trying to make it not green. Because the first movie wasn't all that green. The first movie had moments that were green, but it had all kinds of different colors going on. Sometimes they were even in the daytime at moments. But the second and third one, it was like there was a green tint over the entire film. You know
yeah.
what I mean? It truly was. I mean, it was way more green. And that doesn't necessarily bother me, but I'm kind of glad that it feels not so green.
Unless like the Matrix has improved and it's more like reality, you know,
Are
times past. Yeah,
and right now I can't tell if they're doing some sort of, if it's just today, present day, supposed to be like the Matrix itself is present day, or if it's still back in the 90s or what. But first off, you see that shot and then you see this and you see a black cat. So that there's
yeah,
box number one, they're checking off, oh, deja vu.
yeah,
So it's like kind of, I'm not saying they're shoehorning that in, but they definitely want you to know they're going to use all the tricks. Because remember when you first saw the black cat in the first movie and they're like, oh, that's deja vu. You were like, oh, that's really cool.
yeah. They explain it well in the first movie. Well, basically, if you see a black cat, it's like a glitch, isn't it, in the Matrix?
Yeah,
Is that
it
right?
is. It's exactly what it is. It's a glitch in the Matrix. And then, but they understand if there's a glitch in the Matrix, that means it's something that's going on.
Yeah,
And all the agents show up. So anyways, and even then that scene in the first movie that had this very dark hallway feeling, they were fighting in that bathroom, all that was really cool. And you didn't ever have that in the second and third movie. This one, it feels like they're trying to go back to that feeling a little bit in certain parts. I feel like.
yeah. I do believe that they're going to try and. I'm not saying that the second and third movie was mistakes, but the one that everybody loves is the first one,
Of
and that is
course.
what you need to base it on that, and that's what
Brian
I'm
says they
hoping that
changed
they do.
something.
Yeah, he believes like what I've just said, that they've changed something, but clearly not enough to stop them from awakening from it.
Right. Yeah, that's and that's the thing. First off, here's what I want to ask you. So Keanu Reeves is sitting in the office and he's talking to Neil Patrick Harris, who is his therapist or whatever. But then
Yeah,
we, later and after he has all this, like talks about the dreams that he's having, we see this other shot of him with his eyes all like glitched out and everything. And then it shows him again and he's like, oh, we don't use the word crazy in here and all that. So is he dead? What happened? Like, and like you were saying, the robots may use the humans for fuel because it's a machine world.
yeah.
But the whole idea behind him is he was the one, right? He
This
was
is why I'm not. This is why I'm not excited for it, because it just feels like it's lost in its own plot. Like they've gone too far with it. It just felt so wrapped up with the third one. I don't understand what this next one's going to be. But the architect does say, and when there's all them screens behind him, there's all them different Keanu's and different Neos, and they're all. You can remember that scene in the second one?
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, that it's not the first attempt, and that would make it make sense for the to be a sequel.
Okay, and if that's what's really going on in that one, because that is probably the most confusing part of the entire trilogy, is that little moment.
Yeah,
It's like I grasp it, but it still is a little vague.
yeah.
But
It does open doors for sequels, but
sure.
why has they got amnesia? I don't understand that part.
Well, and I'm sure they're going to explain it, but obviously at this point, it looks like it shows. And unless I don't want to get ahead of it real quick, but I'm gonna flash through these images real quick. So
Okay.
he's talking to Neil Patrick Harris, and he's like, "I've been having these dreams," and then immediately, and this is Keanu sitting there talking to him. I've been having these dreams. He shows him grabbing his knees. He's a little nervous, And then when he starts talking about the dreams, you see this shot of him like catching bullets or dodging bullets. And but this is new Neo with long hair and a beard. And then we see this, which there's some green, we get that. This is obviously a dream. So is it supposed to be that like his conscience is
in tune?
Always in spirit alive and is somehow unkillable? And even though that they tried to do the sacrificing him in the end of Revolutions, is this him just being like, you can't stop the spirit of the one and the one's not done? I mean, because he has a reason that he's exists because he needs to stop everything, right?
Yeah, the Matrix needs him to stop the agents. That's what I believe. That's what I took from the story. Like he's like the yin to the yang. Like they need him, and I don't know if it's always a different outcome every time he's reborn, or every time you like with the screens, they don't really explain that. So I don't know what's going on. Like the trailer is so vague, and I suppose it's creating intrigue.
I like the vague trailer. I mean, the trailer it gave me something I wasn't expecting, which I'm glad about.
Yeah, especially it lasts for what, nearly 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's a 3-minute trailer, 3 minutes and 9 seconds, I think.
Really none the wiser, which is what a trailer should do. It should, it should create intrigue. I
don't feel like anything was spoiled in this. If anything, they very rarely showed Neo fighting, and so is that another thing? Or Mr. Anderson, is he going to be on the run most of the time? And also, does it feel like they're rehashing the first plot like they did with Force Awakens and rehashing New Hope? Because we see this in the dream sequence. Yep. And so and then we see this. Is that from the first movie, or is this him being reborn again?
I probably some special effects. I think that's him being reborn again. But
because also in the dream sequence, we see this, and that's definitely Yahya Abdul-Mateen, which I think I'm almost positive at this point he's Morpheus.
Right. Okay.
I mean, first off, the look and everything. I call that, by the way. I could be wrong still, but I call that. But the look of it and everything. But the biggest thing is when he was like, "You don't even know me," and he's like, "Oh," or he says, "No." And he looks at him like that when they're fighting in the dojo that looks like the same place that him and Morpheus were fighting.
Yeah. And then he does some weird, we'll talk about that in a bit. But
yeah, but anyways, so half of this stuff in there in this dream sequence, I can't tell, like, is this the original shot or is this something recreated from the original movie? That's why I can't tell if they're trying to like go back to the first one somehow in this one.
I have no idea. I have no idea what the hell is going on in this trailer.
Well, after the dream sequence, it just shows him all of a sudden chilling in his tub with his rubber ducky.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's probably the opening of the movie, like in his mundane life.
But having dreams, and so he's got confusion, right? I mean, that's the whole idea. He's having dreams, he's got confusion, and he's talking to a therapist.
Yep.
He doesn't know who he definitely knows he knows he's Anderson, but he doesn't know that he's Neo. He doesn't.
If I was to take a stab in the dark, I believe that the therapist is part of the Matrix that wants to help him or unlock, because like you said, there's no such thing as crazy. And I know a lot of therapists would say that, but it felt to me like they need him to come back. That's what I'm getting from the trailer. I don't know if you did.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about like the Matrix needing him to come back?
Yeah, either that or he's like an oracle or something. I believe that he won't just be a therapist. Does that make sense?
I feel like that he's somebody bad, personally, like right away.
Yeah,
Neil Patrick Harris, like right away. It's like, oh, that's a villain.
Evil. He can do evil pretty well.
And then he gets out of the tub and he's going to see, he runs into Carrie-Anne Moss.
She's looking well.
She looks really good, man. Honestly, I was not expecting that, and I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that. I take
back everything I said the other day. Like, she looks great.
Yeah, well, she definitely has that definitive look to her. I mean, she looks like Trinity. But she's always been awkwardly attractive to me. That's the best way I can describe it. Like, she doesn't look like anybody else. She looks unique and exotic, but she's obviously attractive.
Yeah, but she also looks regular as well. Like, she can pull off both. Like, she's just different.
Yeah, well, she looked like she was a Matrix character in the first movies, where she doesn't in this. Like you said, she looks regular right here. So that's I think that's a good thing. Because man, I mean, when I first saw her in the first Matrix, I was like, "What is up with this girl? She's so weird but hot all at the same time."
Yeah, yeah, that's how I think everybody felt. Yeah, it was just, and especially with what she was wearing in the first movie. Like
Oh
there was just
God.
something like, I'm so glad they cast her as Trinity. I don't know who
Oh,
else was in the running.
I don't think that anybody else could have done it. Oh, Brian says hot soccer mom. uh,
She's definitely lost a bit of weight. She doesn't look as, can I say this word, frumpy as I saw her in like Supergirl and things like that. It's like she's not being de-aged, I don't think.
no,
Actually,
I didn't watch Supergirl, so I didn't even know she was in that until you told me.
I think she's in that as the villain, but
I mean,
I've only seen, I watched one episode. That was it.
yeah, I mean, I ain't about that Supergirl life. That's not my jam.
No.
But I I definitely am curious as to where they go from here because they show something. Is this significant, like what she's wearing, or is that just like them feeling each other's hand and realizing that hey, maybe we used to be in love?
Yeah, like there's a link there.
Right. That's what I was thinking. I was just making sure.
That's just their fashion sense, I think, in this time. That's it.
Yeah, because that's right there. They just kind of focus on that for a second, but then she just says, "Yes, have we met?" And he's like, "I don't know." But then they show the blue pills right there immediately, and that's obviously him being medicated and being kept in the facade, right?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
now, but here's the thing: didn't wasn't it that they took a blue pill or the red pill, and then that was it?
That was the idea, wasn't it? It was like you would forget everything, or you could be unlocked. I can't
Right.
remember
That
which
it was
one you
like
had to
that was the
take.
one catalyst, not that you have to be medicated. Again, the chain it could be altered. If you think about, and now let's dig deep into it because this movie is about computers and machines. If your computer the way it operates now, it operates way different than it did 20 years ago. You know what I mean? The things that it can do on its own, the things that it's modified, the things that it's upgraded and done differently. So a lot of that could be this in here. I would just like to figure out why they're constantly feeding him pills rather than,
I
you know what I'm
believe you're
saying?
right with what you're saying. I believe that they're dumbing him down, and because there is a shot where you see them getting poured down the sink.
Right. Yeah, and I've got that one right over here in just a second. Yeah, so this is where he's like looking in the mirror and he's like, "What the hell is this?" And then he's holding them there, and he pours those bad boys down the sink. And yeah, definitely seeming like the entire time he's confused, and he seems like he knows that there's something inside of him that he doesn't know about. Almost the Jason Bourne thing.
Yeah, I wish they wouldn't have gone for the John Wick look, because I
Well,
just see John Wick.
well, like you said, you just see John Wick, but I think it probably has to do everything with his contract, man, because John Wick is, I think, in filming right now.
Yeah, and that's a massive franchise for him, and I'm guessing there's a lot of red tape.
Yeah, just who knows? Who knows why? Or did they just like it? Did they immediately, did Lana Wachowski just be like, I like the beard and the hair. It's cool. It makes for a different life. It makes for a different Neo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it makes him look younger as well, because I'm guessing, a lot older than Carrie Ann Moss.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how old he is. I know that he's definitely in his 50s,
Yeah,
and
but
which is amazing.
she looks great on that shot
Yeah,
that you showed me. Yeah, she looks fantastic.
no, she does. She looks real good. And honestly, for any of them to be able to do these scenes and everything like that, like that we're going to see them doing. And that was another thing about her. She did the stunts just like Keanu did in those movies. So like she knows, she's got the memory for it at least. And maybe, with a little training, she's got it back. And there are some scenes of her fighting in this, but I do feel like this is going to be much more of an on the run movie and maybe like a massive fight thing at the end or something, like where in Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions, it was just the whole time you're fighting the whole movie. It was either fighting or a badass motorcycle scene, or you know what I mean?
Do you get the impression that this is going to like be a standalone film, a bit like the first Matrix?
It feels like the first Matrix compared to the other two movies. Like, I feel like if this one does well, they will make a sequel. But I
Yeah,
also feel like that if they make a sequel, they'll just go ahead and greenlight the franchise, and then the other movies will feel different than this one. And so,
yeah.
like, the first one
I
and this
don't.
one will be the best.
Yeah, I don't think that they would make the same mistake of making them back to back, having an animated cartoon, making games, because that was just overload. They were heavily involved with making all of those things.
I tell you what, though,
The
the Path of
Wachowskis.
Neo that came out on the regular Xbox, and I think it was the PS2.
I love
That was
that
a
one.
that was a badass game, dude. That
I
was
loved
the
it. It felt like, with the buttons you were pressing, you felt like you was doing the moves.
yeah. You felt like you were Neo, and there were so many different moves, and it was all slow mo and
Yeah,
everything. And then the original Matrix game sucked. The first game they made, but the
yeah,
Path of Neo game was really good. I just wish they'd make an updated, open world Matrix game. That'd be awesome.
yeah. It would.
They tried to do the Matrix Online game, but it didn't take off.
No, I remember seeing that and thinking, nah, not for me. But yeah, Path of Neo, loved it.
Yeah, great game. But anyways, we're talking about the trailer. I just had to mention that. This one does feel like it's going to be better than the last two, in my opinion. Like the last two, I was in it when those came out. I was all about it. I was excited. That's how I am about movies. I embrace the season. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? But after it died down, and after I had them all on DVD and Blu-ray for a while, it started to become like, all right, it's clear here. There's this separation between the first and the second two. There's just something that's different about them. And the first one, I can honestly say, I could be like, give this to Quentin Tarantino, give this to Martin Scorsese, give this to anybody, and they're going to be like, that's a piece of art.
yeah,
Give this the second two to those type of directors and all that. They're going to be like, y'all made a good job, and I can tell that y'all put a lot of effort into this, but it's just missing something that the spark that the first one had, the second
yeah,
two doesn't have.
yeah.
That's
The
it.
style of the substance. I mean, always as well. Like it was an original movie. Like nothing had been like this before. And
Blew my
then,
mind, dude. It blew
yeah,
everybody's mind.
I just wish it would have stayed as the first one and just become a classic.
Well, and look, I feel like that this one looks like it's trying to go more that route. I mean, so we've got him sitting here looking at the sun, and it looks like he's like figuring out some stuff with the birds and everything like that. He's having to deal with his daily life. This douche commode over here, all up on his iPad, laughing in public, or his iPhone. And
Yeah,
which, by the way, this shot right here where he's looking above, is this like an elevator, like a dual elevator or something?
strange, isn't it? And everybody's on the
Oh no,
phone.
that's a mirror. That's a mirror. My bad. He's
Right.
looking
Okay.
up.
Yeah.
These people are upside down. Okay.
He's not happy, is he? There, he's questioning something.
Yeah, well, I think that's his whole thing, this whole movie so far. And even then, we show him walking to a bar and he gets this Alice in Wonderland book. And then this person looks up at him. Now,
Yeah,
that's got to be the Oracle, right?
could well be. I mean, just before you see her in the trailer, you see the white rabbit tattoo. But I don't think it's linked to her. She's probably the Oracle, or is she the young girl from the third one on the train?
Um, well, she could be. Or is she the little girl at the end of the third one?
Could well be. That is the same girl, isn't it? As in, she sits with the Oracle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It might be, or is that the Oracle? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that the new Oracle? Because it is a rebooted thing, and like we saw, even though I know the Oracle's not around anymore, but we saw the Oracle change in the second one. I'm just wondering. She's got a very interesting smirk on her face right there. You know what I mean?
yeah. As in, like she knows more than he does.
She knows something up, and she knows exactly who he is.
Yeah,
Now, what do you think about this, where he's walking up to the mirror, and then you see this whole alteration thing?
yeah.
What do you think's up with that?
Is that Agent Smith, or is it the architect? Who is that?
I don't know. But I mean, I think it's just him. He forms and he forms from it and then turns into it. He goes from this into this
Yeah.
in the trailer. So again, I don't know what it is.
See, I watched this with my partner, this trailer, and she's never seen any of the Matrix. And I said, "Oh, I'm not happy about this one. There's just something missing." And she watched it and she said, "It looks really good," because she loves Alice in Wonderland. She loves Through the Looking Glass, and it's very Alice in Wonderland themed with the trailer. There's people coming in and out of mirrors and things like that.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
a fresh pair of eyes who's not seen the trilogy
But that's
is
happened to
impressed with this.
but the Alice in Wonderland thing was a part of the original trilogy. I mean, that was already
Never
an
picked up
underlying.
on that because I've
Really?
never really had an interest in Alice in Wonderland. I know it is thinking back, but
No, it is because I mean they did the mirror stuff in the other one, and it is like the pill. That's Alice in Wonderland. I mean, straight up. And so I mean, I think that they're still going with that. I just hope that because you know, like when they got to like the key maker and stuff like that, it started to just get a little.
Silly.
You're asking a lot of me as an audience member at that point. You know what I mean? The beauty about the first movie is that the only confusion your brain really has is that it's just being blown away. You know what I mean? And you're just like, whoa. The concepts are also new that you're buying it. You're not having any question about it.
And when
Whereas
you
the
watch
second and third, when you start to have these questions, like, well, wait a minute, what does that mean? And I just want this one to be tight like the first one, you know,
the
that
first one
package.
is tight, and the more and more you watch it, the more you pick up and you understand the story. The second and third one, you can watch that 1,000 times, and a lot of it doesn't make sense. But the first one is like perfect. Like you can understand what's going on.
I agree. I agree,
Yeah,
man. And again, I rewatch those movies, all three of them every year. It is a trilogy for me, and now it'll be a quadrilogy or whatever you call that. But I love the movies, and especially the choreography and the fighting. I mean, that some of that in part two and three is some of the best shit you ever seen on screen. I mean,
yeah,
entertaining wise.
yeah.
Um, but going back to the trailer now, this has got to be Morpheus, man. Oh, hang on, let me go back just a little bit. So I mean, this is where he walks in, sees her, boom, and then you get him talking over here with the mirror, and then that's got to be Morpheus, right?
Yeah, I mean the glasses are balancing just the same as the old
He's wearing
Morpheus.
the suit, the leather jacket, you know, the red tie thing, and it just the way the glasses with the bald hair, even so much as to the texture of their skin. But Lawrence Fishburne and Yahya Abdul Mateen, I mean, they, you know what I'm saying? They look like they could be on screen father and son.
Yeah, he's a little bit darker, but that I mean that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
But
that
I
doesn't.
was thinking like he was going to be somebody else rather than reintroduce Morpheus as younger. Like I'm getting confused with this
I'm
because
not
obviously,
saying that it is Morpheus. I'm just having the theory that it just feels like it, and especially this part right here when he catches his fist and he's just like, you don't even know me, and he does the like he
yeah,
looks at him and does the whole
I believe
no.
it's Morpheus after this trailer. Yeah, 100%. Like, why would they give you like a red herring like that where he's got the same glasses that Morpheus would wear? It's like his trademark.
And
Nobody
they're
else wore
fighting
glasses
like
like that.
this, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, but
I
it
just
does
wish
look.
he'd have come back. I just wish it like Lawrence Fishburne would have come back.
You know, they didn't ask him.
Is anybody else coming back into it? Or is it just them two?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know if Hugo Weaving's in it or not. I haven't heard that he's in it. I've heard no buzz at all that he's in it. But little things like this, and we're getting to it. And in fact, let me wait off all that and get to it. But this is the thing, you know, like this girl obviously is important, and she's the one that was wearing with the white rabbit, which by the way they did the song in this was genius. At first, I was like, here we go, another generic song from the 60s or 70s behind this, and they're gonna try, though they did Suicide Squad and all that, but then by the end of it, the way it turned into its own score and it really started, and they used the rabbit moment when she says
Yeah.
chasing rabbits, and you see that, and it starts getting creepy. By the end of it, I was like, oh, I take it back. This is really well done, the way they
That
use the song.
I felt exactly the same as you when I first watched it. I was like, "Whoa, what's this?" But then my partner, she looked at it and she was like, "Oh, it's Alice in Wonderland," and I'm thinking, like, "How are you seeing this more than me?" You know? And it is, and like some of the lyrics that are in the song is talking about pills and taking.
Yeah,
That right?
taking one pill this and then one pill does this, and then or one
Yeah,
makes
and
you
it's
big, one
clever.
makes you small. And I've
Yeah,
always known that. I think that's a Jefferson Airplane song. I
yeah,
think. Um, yeah, I just like I said, at first I was thinking it was going to be kind of another. They're doing it again with a trailer, but by the end of it, I was like, oh shit, that was well done.
yeah,
And then like this little thing that's kind of cool because it does feel very much more grounded in a lot of ways. And then with all these like sort of snippets, like they look like they are creating a better illustration of like the conduit between the matrix and the real world. You know what I'm saying? Like it used to just be like plug in, do all that type of stuff. Now there's all these different the mirror thing. You know what I mean? It just looks like they're exploring more concepts.
yeah. And that shot that you just showed us, where they're in the elevator and everybody's looking at the
Oh,
phones or the tablets, it reminds me of Terminator Genesis as the way everybody's, and not to be compared, but it reminds me of that, the way they're all hooked up looking at screens, and it feels like Neo has had enough of this. As in, like, that's a lot how a lot of us feel in reality. Like, people are always got their heads down looking at tablets and phones, and we want more. And that's what I'm getting from that part of the trailer. Like, Neo doesn't want to look at his phone; he wants to escape this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing. He's definitely trying to, something's wrong. Like that. It's like he knows he's in fake. He
Yeah,
realizes he's in the middle of fake somehow.
yeah,
Like the way he's looking at that guy, he's like, look at this douche commode. um, and my buddy Brian just said this and I knew this, I just didn't mention it, but he was talking about it is Jefferson Airplane, he said, but it's called White Rabbit. The song itself is, and
right.
that's what
Okay,
I was saying. That's why I thought it was cool. I just, at first, when I heard the song playing, I just thought like, oh, great. They're doing another, like, I didn't realize they were going to turn the song into such a like scored, dramatic sounding piece by the end of it. They just did a really good job of that. And it impressed me.
Yeah. That's not.
So, but moving forward though, after he's taking the pills and talking to this girl who she seems important. She seems like, that shows them jumping through the mirror together. And we see her a little later doing some kind of crazy stuff. But right after this is where it looks like that spot is leading into, this is a cool shot of the little dojo they're in. Now, I don't remember the dojo being like in the middle of the water in the original movie. Was it?
I think that's for this new one. It
right,
feels like a perfect place to train.
Right. Like, is it? So do you get the feeling they're trying to take him back to square one in this, even with the way he's training in a dojo again? You know what I mean? Like,
as in, like, are they doing a Force Awakens?
That's what I meant. That's what I've been saying this whole time. Like, are they taking the way Force Awakens did with A New Hope and just sort of brush the dust off of it and redo things in a certain way?
Yeah, I believe that's where he's going to be doing his training. But who's the villain? This is what I don't get. Like, who's he fighting against? Why?
Well, remember,
why do they need him?
In the first trailers of the original Matrix, and I think they're trying to treat this slightly like a reboot in a weird way, even though it's a sequel.
Yeah.
In the original trailer, you didn't know nothing about no villain. You thought the Matrix was the villain when you first, or whatever, you're just like, what is this shit? Are they in this computer trying to make their way? You had no idea what it was when you saw the trailer. Nobody knew what that movie was about until you watched it. I
mean, I think it's quite good that the robots have created this world for them. As in, like, we need to feed from you, but we're going to give you like a life, and I get it that some people escape, and I can understand why Cypher had enough of being in reality, So if they're the robots,
well, this is the eggs.
Right. Okay. And that's where they're all like living and they're feeding from them. Yeah.
Yeah. These are just showing some ships flying around. And this is the real dystopian world. This isn't the Matrix. This is the real world. And this is like where they breed them.
Yeah.
All the eggs.
Do you think there'll be another Zion there?
Yeah. Honestly, I have no idea because all the dreams that he's having, let me go back here, but like even the dreams that he's having, there's a shot of this, these are like two massive machines coming towards each other. Like, I don't know what the hell that is.
I mean, is it like, are they saying that it's reincarnation?
Maybe. Is Morpheus reincarnated? His name is Morpheus.
Yeah, it is. It's just so vague that, I mean, it's like we assume that that's part of the dream because that's the way the trailer dictates it, but it might not be.
I can't. Yeah, this could be just clips from the past. Is this a clip from the past, or is this a reshot scene from the first movie? This looks. I don't think that's for me. Is this from the past?
No.
This is in his dream. That's not from the past. That's definitely Yaha.
Yeah.
So again, vague. I like that. Don't give the movie away because now you just get people are like, okay, I have to see what this is about. It's a Matrix movie, and it makes me want to see it.
Yeah.
I just hope it isn't that Force Awakens thing. That's all I'm talking about.
Yeah, I hope so too, because no, too many franchises have done that and made mistakes of rehashing, and I don't think that these would do this with this film because it's got such a lore and legacy.
And it covers right now. It looks like it's trying to cover a whole array of feelings and tones. Whereas, like I said, in the second one and the third one, you just felt green the whole time. Whereas this one, you're jumping from scenes like this, where it looks like Keanu is like super powerful now. He's like blowing up the whole dojo. But then you immediately go to shots like this, you know, and just it just looks different, themed and toned the whole time, and not just staying green. Like this is that girl like jumping off and flying, and she's like about to land and do this like sort of anime. Doesn't that look like an anime character in a video game?
Yeah, it
Jumping.
does. It does.
So, I mean, I feel like that they're trying to give you something that you haven't had from the Matrix, or something you've been missing from the Matrix. You know what I mean? As far as the franchise.
Yeah. I mean, I would have preferred the green tone just to keep me connected to it. Because again, it feels
Really?
like a stand-up. Yeah, just a little bit. It doesn't have to be the whole time. But I just didn't feel any green at all whatsoever. Like if you watch the first one, like when he's in the office block and like he's starting to realize, and Agent Smith closes his mouth and you can see his shadow and it's all kind of green.
No, it does. It has a green tone, but I don't think the whole movie felt like that as much as, I mean, it did more than this one. This one definitely is more colorful than any Matrix movie we've seen.
Yeah.
Like scenes like this when they're on this train and it's like the daytime and this thing's flashing by and you got like an explosion out here, and it's, you know, they're definitely getting colorful with it.
It's for me, I think it's rather than special effects, the story's got to be good, because even though they had both combination in the first one.
Oh yeah.
But we've seen a billion films since then with better special effects, you know.
Oh, and great stories. And so
Yeah,
they have
so now they need
there's a
to
high
focus
bar.
on, yeah, they need to focus on story. I don't believe that they're bringing anything too new to the table that we haven't seen before.
I mean, they definitely they're going to keep it within the rules and barriers and lore of the Matrix that we're all familiar with, right?
Yeah.
But as far as, you know, this right here, that doesn't look like the old school Matrix. That looks a little different.
Yeah.
You know, that's not necessarily the type of clothes they were wearing. This looks a little more like 90s clothes, actually.
It does. Yeah, it does. Yeah, completely. This is why it can kind of throw you off. Is he Morpheus? Would Morpheus wear that?
Yeah.
Probably.
But is he supposed to be looking more like a commoner in this movie? Again, we don't know the plot line or anything. I do know that we get a couple of shots of Neo doing some stuff to some people and knocking them back, jumping out of some explosions. And that's another thing in this. It looks like that they're doing mix and mix CG and real.
Yeah.
For example, like when they're on these rooftops and stuff like that, they're definitely, that looks like they're on top of buildings.
Yeah, I mean that looks real.
It does. Like in this part right here, it looks like real cars and like real stunt people. That obviously that's not Keanu and Carrie Ann Moss, but that looks like a real old school 90s stunt work from film, which I'm excited about. I like the CG, but I need both. You know, you need to utilize them both.
Yeah, it went too far with the CG in the sequels, like all the cars on the motorway and everything like that. It looked good, but looking back, you can see it if you really try. With this, I want some more realism. Like I love to see practical effects because it shows that they're using the brains and they've put their heart and soul into it.
Well, and it's about capturing like the true art of filmmaking. Like there is something special of capturing something on film and being able to watch it and being like, see what you're watching there is like that's really happening. And I'm not talking about doing just over the top like Mission Impossible stunts, like how big can we get? I'm just talking about make it real.
Yeah,
you know,
make
like
it real. Yeah,
film something that's really going on, because it conveys way better that way, man. You're going to sink your teeth into it more. You just will.
What is the budget for this film? Do you know?
I have no clue, actually. I bet you Brian could look that up for us if he feels like it. No, yeah, yeah. You know, he actually does have to work for a living, you know, so if you can figure it out, that'd be awesome. But if not, no pressure, obviously. But I mean, it definitely doesn't look like a small budget. It does look toned down in certain areas, but on purpose. Like it doesn't look like that we didn't have the money. I mean, it's Warner Brothers and it's the Matrix after all. I mean, they got the money.
If I'm honest, it felt like something Amazon was putting out there. That's what I was getting from it, as in like it has been turned down. It's probably been scaled down more than the first one. I can't remember what the budget was for the first one.
The first one didn't have a massive budget. It wasn't even all that huge. There's a lot of ways they film certain things, like when Carrie Ann Moss is like running on top of the buildings and it's sort of this like up and down deal. I mean, that was all on a sound stage and things. I mean, that wasn't, they just were able to They did a lot of cool. That was another thing about the first one. The first one had a lot of innovative cinematography that hadn't been done yet. You
Yeah,
know, with the
yeah,
whole the cameras going around the room, the 360 thing, and all that.
yeah.
Nobody had done that yet, and that's something that I want to see from this movie. I want to see some breathtaking cinematography.
So I want to
I
see
don't want that to
something
take a
new.
back seat because
Yeah,
that's part of the allure of the Matrix.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And see where they can take it even further. Like, could they get cameras up in the sky, like drones, a bit? You know what I mean? Like something like that would be
Yeah,
amazing.
maybe they really could. I mean, because Sam Raimi, the part of what was so cool about him is he was swinging cameras through buildings. You
Yeah,
know,
that was awesome.
nobody had done that yet, and that's like, oh, this feels real now. It feels like
Yeah,
actual Spider-Man. And so again, they did that with the first one. The second one, they did do a lot of groundbreaking things and stunt work and wire work and things like that, but nothing that was like first time.
yeah.
Whereas the first movie was like nobody had seen this shit before.
Did you know that they built 1.4 miles of real motorway for the second one?
That doesn't surprise me.
That's crazy.
So they could do that motorbike scene and the diesel truck scene when they're on top
Yeah,
of
yeah,
that.
yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't surprise me, man. I mean, for a lot of those scenes back then, when it was still in the middle ground of CG and stuff like that. Same thing with True Lies, and now we're getting off topic a little bit. But True Lies, that was an old. So they were building a new bridge, and they had built a new bridge, and that big bridge at the end of True Lies, where it's like a long, long bridge over a long stretch of water.
yeah,
It's like a bridge. It's like miles long. Remember the middle of it blows out,
yeah.
and then the jets do all of that stuff. They really did all that.
Is that the same bridge from Mission Impossible 3?
Oh, I don't know. But, well, one of the reasons they may have kept part of that bridge so they could use it again in movies.
Yeah.
But at that time, if I remember correctly, they were able to do that because they were getting rid of the bridge, and so James was like, "Let me do this." And if I remember, or they were like redoing a part of the bridge or something like that, and so he was able to actually explode it. And
I just think it's amazing how they've got that much power. They can go, right, we need to build 1.4 miles of a motorway. Like, that's just amazing. Like, they would go
money,
to that, yeah, to those lengths.
spend that money, boy. Well, and again, those scenes were really awesome. Like the motorcycle going against the traffic at that time, we hadn't really seen that. Now we've seen it in a lot. Mission Impossible does it every movie, but
Yeah.
we hadn't seen that then, and it was really cool. This one, I will have to say, they're doing something here that I think that I haven't seen before in a movie. B Dub said he can't find anything, but he'll keep looking. And again, they could be keeping that on wraps. The budget might not even be wrapped up yet because they're still spending money on marketing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
who knows? But this one, obviously, you see him stepping through this door, whoever that is, Morpheus or whatever character he's
Let's have a
playing,
closer look at that.
and it's all sideways, right? And then and immediately when he steps, I wasn't able to catch it to where you could because it was such a quick clip in the theater,
Yeah.
in the trailer. I mean, but immediately that switches and shifts, and he's upright, and then
Yeah,
the
I
other
saw
one's
this. I'm
upside
guessing it's like
down.
a revolving room, maybe, or
Who knows? Or
yeah,
he was stepping through like that. Remember that portal, that door that Keanu was about to step through? Maybe it's something similar because it looks like there's buildings outside there.
yeah. I'm
And then he
getting like
stepped
an Inception feel from that.
right.
Yeah,
And then same thing here. And then of course we saw the walking on the ceiling in part 3, which was awesome. I love that scene. And then we get them jumping out of this window. But something we've never seen in the Matrix before is as they're falling, it's like they break a fabric in the Matrix somehow. And this is the best it could look from a screenshot I could get.
yeah.
So,
I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
but it's like they're pulling through, and then it even goes further. But like this glass is shattering, but all of a sudden they go out and it goes into blackness.
is
So
that like they're awakening?
I don't know, but it's when they're jumping out of this building, and it's Yahya Abdul Mateen's character following this down, and as soon as they're catching up to each other, like they hit something in the middle of the air and it shatters, and then it turns into this little thing right here, to where it's like they're breaking through some sort of dimension barrier or something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's
It
what it
just
feels like. Is that for the viewer, or is it what everybody would see? Like, so the people who are still in the Matrix and are none the wiser, like the taxi driver underneath, like, would he be able to look up and see like the little glitches?
I don't know. Like I think that's again, this is something I've never seen in the Matrix before, so I'm curious to see what they're doing with that in the film. And I
In the
didn't know if
in
you
the
had any
first one,
theories.
like things would crash into a building and like the building would warp. You remember that?
I do remember that. It would be like a
Yeah. And that looked really good. And I'm just wondering, like, would anybody else be able to see that? Or is that just say, like,
the people that are actually
messing it up?
in the real world that actually have the truth in their minds? Are
Yeah.
they the only ones that can see it? I mean, because here's the deal: does magic exist in the Matrix?
I believe certain programs do, because there's vampires and werewolves and ghosts and things like that.
Well, you got the like the separating weird ghost twins in part 2. But you said there's werewolves
like
and
that.
wolves.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it. I thought it was a cool concept. But you said there's werewolves and vampires. I don't remember that.
I think it's something to do with the French guy, and is it Monica Bellucci who's in that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
both of them.
Yeah, it's some weird dimension. I mean, I did watch another YouTuber and they were breaking down the second one, and I'd never realized it had like vampires and werewolves. I think it's only spoken of.
Maybe, and that's something I mixed.
Mm.
So Brian is saying this to us right now, and this is something I was aware of, but for Reloaded and Revolutions, it was 150 each, which, I mean, that's about, these days, big budget films are in between 150, 200 million.
Yeah, it's talking like 400 million in today's money.
It's just depending on the film. Usually they try not to go over 300 million. They usually try not to. Usually it's in between the 150 to 2, and then they'll, depending on how big it is, they'll get into the 250 and stuff like that, and sometimes 300 million. But normally the 150 is where it's at. And now they're starting to be able to cut budgets a little better, because I can't remember what they call it, but it's like it's CG backgrounds now, but it's not like it's not the same thing as green screening.
Right.
It's a different thing. It's what they did in Lion King.
Is it what Marvel does? Because I think they're phenomenal.
Yeah, it's what Marvel's doing now, especially like in the shows and stuff. Like when Loki was out all up in the desert and the sand and everything, that was not in the desert. That was on the stage. And
Yeah,
that
I think
looked
they've
like it
got
was
it
vast.
perfect.
Yeah,
like
so it's a new technology. I can't remember the exact name of it, but I know because of that, they're able to lower certain budgeting, because first off, that $150 million for those went to a lot of the sets. They were filming on massive sets for the Matrix on top of the CG going with it. Like if you ever saw in real life the room at the end of part 3 where they're having the Zion battle.
Yeah.
You know, where they're all just in that big, I mean, obviously that's not all there, but a lot of it was, man. A lot of it was there. Like tall ass shit.
Yeah, and it's good for the actors to be able to interact with things.
Yeah, so they can react.
It just brings the realism.
I agree.
I mean, if you look at Attack of the Clones, it looks like they don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah, which I like Attack of the Clones a lot.
I do.
I do. I enjoy the movie itself, but that opening scene, it's this. Well, the problem with that is, and getting off on an offshoot, but the problem with the Star Wars movies and their CG, the original, excuse me, the prequel trilogy, is that the physics don't match up.
Yeah.
Like when Anakin's like falling in the middle of all that stuff and he grabs onto the edge of the ship, he's just, and he's like, oh, cool. It's like, that would have ripped his arm off. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, you need to make it more believable. Like he like fell and then was able to like barely hanging on, you know, make it like John McClane barely making it or something. Yeah. But I don't like how perfect it was. And then they took that back in the newer trilogy. They made their sword fighting way. Don't get me wrong. I liked the ninja fighting in the prequels, but it makes sense because they were at their top. They were still, you know, they hadn't been shut down yet. The Jedi were in full power and all that in the prequels. So it makes sense why they'd be at their best. You know what I mean? I get all that, but there's something missing from the barbaric, like I like that.
Yeah. You want to see them sweating. You know, you want to believe they're fighting.
Right. I don't want to see wire work, kung fu stuff all the time. But anyways, with the Matrix, I do want to see that kind of stuff because that's sort of what it's all about. I definitely, it makes it more believable in the Matrix because they talk about how you're bending time, bending the spoon and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too. I wonder if they're going to really try to connect it like fully to those characters we all knew. Like, is that girl going to mention the Oracle? Are they going to mention Agent Smith at all?
Is he going to be the same Neo?
Would you say?
Is he going to be the same Neo?
Right. Is he at all? Yeah. Is this Carrie Ann Moss? I think it is. It looks like her
Yeah,
mouth.
yeah.
So that's not from the first one. I don't remember that at all from the first one.
No, I don't think they're going to show any footage from the first one.
So all this stuff. So obviously we're seeing her fighting a little bit right here, and then we got this other cool shot of her where the people are like blowing up around her. And I thought I had it, but I guess I didn't download it. But where
There's a
she's
shot
like,
where she's like split into
yeah,
like in a
she's
circle.
expanding.
Yeah.
And that was interesting to me.
Do you have that shot?
I thought I did. I really thought I downloaded it right after this one, but it'd be too hard to find right now.
That's different. That's something I've not seen before.
Yeah, that where it's like expanded into 5. Like, what are they doing there?
But like kind of faded, as in like she's the solid one in the middle, and
Right.
they're
Well,
like
yeah, it looks like that her spirit or body was like amplifying or something.
yeah.
It looked cool to me. And then of course you got this person this doing all their acrobatic things. This, I can't help but feel like that whoever this person is, it's just a shoe-in. They're going to die. They're going to do all this badass stuff throughout the film and everything. And something's going to happen where they're going to sacrifice themselves, and it's going to be because it's for you, Neo. You're the one, you know.
Looking at that police car, what era is that? I mean,
that's what I'm saying. That looks 90s, man.
Yeah,
that totally looks 90s. Looks like a Ford Taurus or something.
Yeah, it does.
Or not a Continental, but the old Oldsmobiles or a Buick or something.
Yeah, but I wonder if it is going to be set like in the 90s, like as in like the Matrix resets for the 90s every time.
That would be an interesting concept.
In the original, he thinks that they're in 1999, but it's more like 500 years later.
Right, but they're still just keeping it there. So what if they still did that and they were able to still use all the old school flip phones?
Oh, I would have liked that.
No, I'm saying it would make it work. You know, it's like, why aren't they using iPhones and stuff like that? It's like, but if in this one, if they still keep it to that flip phone thing because they reboot the Matrix back to the 90s or reset it to 90s, that'd be kind of cool. That's a cool concept.
I mean, how intelligent is the Matrix? Like, would it give them an alternate future to what we have? Like, where, you know, or are they limited by what they know, the machines? And it's like, well, we've got this era of time, and that's perfect for us to breed these humans. Like, I don't know if it's stuck in the 90s.
So this is the other thing. Neo can do his stuff outside of the Matrix. So yes, the magic exists, but it's just him, right? There's nobody else that can do what he can do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Smith was just a program he's fighting.
In the first one, you don't get that impression, though.
Well, you do at the end because he flies away, right?
But he's in the Matrix when
you're right. He is in the Matrix. You're right.
I didn't like that aspect that he was supernatural away from the Matrix.
Okay, and it's been a while since I've seen the second and third one. Do they introduce that in the second one or the third one? That because it isn't a barrier of him being able to try to do it in the real world instead of the Matrix. Isn't that like a whole thing in 2 or 3?
Yeah, in 3. I mean, he's blind in 3 and he can see.
Right.
Yeah.
He says, "Oh yeah, you're right. They are using new phones in the elevator trailer. We were just talking about that. So like this one right here, Brian just put that up. They're using phones, and he's right. Yeah, when they're shit, it's right up. Man, God, I downloaded a lot of pictures right here. Yeah, they're all using new devices. So it's not in the 90s.
It's not, is it? Yeah, they've got screens. That makes sense.
Thanks for that, Brian. Even though we've talked about that already, we just weren't putting that together. We're too excited. Or at least I am. I don't know how excited you are.
You know what I'm like.
I do. So, but bringing back to Neo being powerful, you know, you see this thing happen right here with all the cops and all that. And I've never seen that.
Are they not overpowering him a little bit too much in this?
Well, that's what I'm wondering that they're doing in this, like, because there's another shot of him, and I've got it downloaded here somewhere, of him shaking someone's hand, and it like is glowing when he's shaking their hand.
Fist?
Well, like as they're, and I'm trying to find the shot on here, and I thought that I had it. I was downloading these so fast that maybe not, but there's a shot where he's shaking hands at somebody and the middle of their hand is glowing like it's glowing on the screen right here.
Right. Okay.
But I can't find the shot, so I'm not going to sit here and just keep it up there.
I'm not seeing any shots of them like outside of the Matrix much.
Well,
you know,
like
on board the ships and stuff like that with the bald heads.
The only thing
that's to do with his beard and his hair.
Well, the only thing that they really show was this and
Yeah,
this, but everything else you see, it looks like they're in whatever world, whatever safe Matrix world they're in. But shit is going wrong for sure. Um, there was one other picture that I want to look at here. Oh yeah. So after we see this happening, we also see this shot right here, and it's like, who is that he's fighting? Is that a villain of some sort?
yeah.
Because that's Keanu on the right, right?
Let's have a look.
That's what I'm thinking. It's the
Yeah,
long
could
hair
well
and that
be.
it's got the long hair. So is that guy this dude who's at the very end of the trailer?
Yeah, he seems like he's the villain.
Because if you look at it, the guy on the left's got short hair similar to that, and he's wearing a suit kind of. So, and it doesn't look like an agent suit. You know what I mean? It looks like more like
Yeah,
this suit.
he mentioned something about, oh, let's go back to the Matrix. Is that right?
Yeah, he says at the very end, like, did you ever think it would happen? Did you ever think you'd be here? Go all the way, or where it all started, all the way back to the Matrix.
I don't
And
know,
that's the
dude.
ending line.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen here.
Because this is something that this is my favorite shot in the movie right here, because I love shots that are subtle but powerful.
Yeah,
Like, for example, one of my favorite shots in the MCU movie, the entire thing, is in the Incredible Hulk when they hear, like, it's in the opening scene in the factory, and they're in that soda factory, and all the guys are
yeah,
coming after him, and they hear him like, oh, they hear his breathing now, and you hadn't seen the Hulk yet. They just hear his
yeah,
breathing, and one of the guys throws like a big smoke grenade in this little hall area, and the
yeah,
smoke grenade blows up, and you just see this huge flash of light and smoke, and you just see the silhouette of the Hulk just real quick, and then it dims out,
yeah.
and you
Subtle.
just see it for like 2 seconds. Dude,
Yeah,
when I saw that, I got the biggest set of chills. I was like, oh shit. If they would have
yeah,
just shown him, it wouldn't have been all that great.
yeah. No, yeah, and that's it. Anticipation is better than the product.
And this shot right here does that for me. I think that's amazing because you just see the silhouette of Neo, and obviously he's holding his hands out and they're firing bullets at him, and he's just stopping them. And it's not overly effects driven. It's not like ripples in the air and everything. It's just the silhouette of him and everything. And then the next shot you see is this. And again, he's got a lot of bright lights, and it's just like, boom. I don't know. That just speaks highly about that character of Neo, the badass we love, and especially this. It's almost superhero-esque with that silhouette, sort of cape looking. You know what I mean? I just like it.
Yeah,
It hits me.
I get nothing from that because it doesn't feel. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, and that's the beauty about movies. But to me, that stuff just it hits me, everything.
If they'd have made it look like it in like the first one, then yeah, I would have got something from it. But it just feels like they're going on their own route with this now.
Well,
That
it does look like a on the run type situation. Brian just texted. He looks punchable for sure. You talking about Keanu?
on me,
Maybe he is talking. He does love the Matrix. So
I know.
uh no, but I think personally that shot is a good looking shot to me. And then we got a bunch of motorcycle play going on in the movie. You got to. It's a Matrix movie. They're doing that.
Okay, there's an agent there.
Oh, there's agents all around.
Yeah,
And then speaking of the agents, though, we've got. Hang on. There's another shot of the agents right here. He's switching around, and then he's like,
yeah. I
so
mean, why they couldn't get Hugo Weaving? I have no idea.
we don't know that he's not in this.
That's true.
We
That's
don't know
true.
because look, the whole thing of are they going back to the first one?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the first movie. He's just got long hair and a beard, but it's the rain, it's the gun. Remember, he was just like talking about it's the smell, and
so you're saying that he could be a surprise character that's back?
or the character's back and it's just not Hugo Weaving. I don't know. It
Yeah,
just looks like that they're touching kind of like Back to the Future 2 did with Back to the Future 1, like rehashing the same elements, but from a different perspective or a different character that a different
yeah.
Neo. I don't know. That's just what it feels like. I could be completely wrong. Could be completely wrong. Oh, that's what I was showing the agents right there. Brian just sent something in. Oh, He says that guy he was talking about, he looks punchable for sure. The guy that we were talking about, the villain.
Yeah, yeah, he
Uh,
does. He does look punchable.
Now, so let me ask you this. The pictures they released earlier yesterday, the ones that I had on my show that I was just covering the pictures of the Matrix, is that same guy sitting in the same chair, but it was this shot.
Okay, so his mouth's like what happens to Neo in the first movie.
Right. But
Yeah.
that's not, let me scroll to it. God, I got a bunch of pictures. That's not this shot. So it's
Yes.
like, is Neo doing that to him or is somebody else doing it to him?
We're gonna have to wait and see. Do you think they'll release another trailer before it comes out?
Yeah, they got to. That's to release one. I mean, we still got 4 months to release one trailer. That's a little, let's say 4 months, 3.5 months, but I don't know, just one trailer for that. I think that that's a little, I think they're going to release one more. It might not show a whole lot more, but I think that they'll release some more
I mean,
trailers.
the first movie didn't have a great trailer, but it's a great movie.
The first movie, it was an out of the dark deal. They didn't even know if it was going to do well.
Yeah.
They had no idea it was going to be a hit that it was. But that's back when movies were coming out like Blade. Remember when Blade came out? I knew what Blade was because I was a comic book fan, but nobody else did. And then people were like, "Dude, you got to see this Wesley Snipes movie." And I'm just like, "I know about it. I was in line Friday night at 7:00." but it was definitely something that it swept the nation. Blade, when it came out, it was huge. I mean, and Blade 2 is arguably better than the first one, and then the third one
I like Blade 2. Yeah, I like it.
The third one's a little bit of a letdown. It has its moments, but it's not as good as 1 and 2.
No, it's not.
It became too gimmicky, with Ryan Reynolds and all that stuff, which he's got some funny moments in it.
Yeah, he does. And that was like our first seeing him as like an action hero rather than just comedy, wasn't it?
Right. For sure.
You can see why he led to Deadpool.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Because you mix the Van Wilder and that together, and it's like, all right, well, here we go. We got somebody that can really work. And you saw, how ripped he was in Blade. Just like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
But one of the other things I think is really cool right here that I liked in the trailer, and this is pretty much getting to the end of it, is they're standing on the rooftop and that shoots that missile, and he's just like, boom, he just swishes it away and just throws it straight at that one. And I love that just Neo's got his hands out and everything. And again, it looks a little more grounded, but I like that. But it doesn't look any smaller to me. It just looks more real, really real shot rather than CGI fueled, which I'm happy about. Yeah. And it shows them jumping off, and then we got this classic scene of them jumping off. Are they going to fly?
It's not bringing anything new to me in this trailer. Like they can fly. He flew in the first one.
The only thing it's bringing new to me for this trailer is that what's going on. Like, I need to know what's going on. And there are a couple things like that breaking the dimension deal. This thing I was talking about, that's interesting to me. And also Morpheus, is that Morpheus? Who is this guy that seems to know him so much? And
I hope it is.
The splitting thing, like when she's splitting up a little bit, like all that stuff just seems interesting. And why is Neo this powerful?
Yeah, it just seems like he's going nuclear. Yeah, he's going nuclear.
Yeah. So again, there's got to be a story behind it, and I'm curious about that. So overall, 1 to 10, how excited are you about this movie now after this trailer?
4.
Whoa.
4 out of 10. I have to be honest.
I'm glad you're honest. I want you to be honest. I don't ever want you to be dishonest. Please don't ever be dishonest. I want you to tell me exactly how you feel.
I was 4 out of 10.
I was like at a 6 because I just was wondering why they're making another one. My curiosity was still there. Now I'm more like 8.5.
Really?
Yeah, I'm 8.5.
A lot of it's to do with my age as well. Like when the first one came out, I was at the ripe age for the Matrix. I was 18.
Yeah, it was hip and trendy. But hey, that's the thing though, dude. Everybody liked the Matrix when it came out. I mean, my dad liked it. He was a cowboy. Damn, this is a good movie. So I'm an 8.5 for it, and I got a soft spot for Keanu being such a badass for so long now, and this looks like it's bringing a different tone to the Matrix that we haven't quite seen yet. So that's why I'm a little more excited about it.
I guess so. All right, let me change it up a little bit. You're right. I'll give it a 5 because it's going to try and bring a different tone to it. Because I did say I'd like to see it green, but it just would feel like a Force Awakens movie if it is going to be like that.
I do want it to, and you are going to have green in there. Don't give me, it'll be in there. Just, I don't think it'll be, you know, they won't put a green filter on the entire film.
Yeah.
Well, man, we went about 5 minutes over, 6, 7 minutes over today. So that's not a bad thing, but hey, we had to do it. But as always, brother, thanks for joining me. And
I loved it.
I'm not if we've fully decided on our talk this weekend, or have we? Because we were tossing it up between a couple franchises. We don't have to decide now, because we were thinking about something, and then when I mentioned one, you were like, I'd love to do that one.
I want to do that one. Yeah,
okay.
I want to do that one. That's
all right. So
passion.
we got a little something planned for y'all this weekend, and I'll be advertising that in a little bit, but I just want to confirm with Esmaniac before we fully announce it. But other than that, man, if you don't mind, tell everybody where they can find you real quick.
Oh, you can find me on Esmaniac on YouTube. What do I make, Bobby? Crazy videos. Trying to make people laugh. A lot of people get upset with my videos. Don't know why. But yeah, I'll do a lot of deleted scenes, things like that. And I'll just edit things together to try and make it into something new, because I'm sick of seeing the same thing all the time. But not everybody shares that. But I absolutely love doing it. So I'm not going to stop doing it.
You shouldn't. It's all great, man. I love it. I think it's hilarious. It's all fun to me. And yeah, you guys just remember, if you're watching Esmaniac stuff, just go in there with a light heart. Don't take anything seriously. It's just fun.
Yeah, it's all for fun.
Well, hey, speaking of fun, man, it was a blast doing this today, and we'll talk soon. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
All right, man. Have a good one. Well, guys, thank y'all again for joining me. I appreciate y'all. Love you to death. Let me know if you got any questions about the Matrix. You got anything you want me to talk about? Any suggestions? Any info you want to send my way? And if you weren't able to tune in the show, you can send it into brassreelbobby@gmail.com. I'll always answer the stuff on the show if it's within reason. But please send it in there. I want to get the community going. I want to get the conversation going and rolling with everybody. Get that banter up. Well, guys, also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. And I'm not going to do a video or a show tomorrow because it's Friday. So I'm going to be doing a review for Malignant, which comes out in the morning. So I'm going to be checking out the new James Wan horror film. So be looking for that review tomorrow. Love y'all with all my heart, guys. And we'll see y'all tomorrow. This Saturday, we're doing our little discussion, and I'll see y'all on Monday. Peace.